Okay, welcome to Financial Orgasm, where it stands for organize, repeat, give, automate, save, and monetize. How to remember. And when you do all of those things, you experience a financial orgasm. Today, we're talking about S stands for save, saving on things, saving our way to a financial orgasm. And I am Tara Jackson, aka Madam Money. I am your financial fornicator. I am also your financial planner. I am also an agent with New York Life, where I make sure you get to improve and enjoy your life for the rest of your life and be able to afford to be you when you retire. So I can help you with all things financial, including but not limited to insurance, financial management, credit, and so forth. So I'm just happy to be here. You can find me at madammoney.com. That's MADAMMONEY. Thank you, Crystal. Love you, girl. I want to, I know I'm probably freezing up, but as long as you all can hear me. Before I hop off, because I'm going to let y'all run the show, because I got my sissy Shynna that's going to take control of the situation.
Yes.
I got my man Rico in the building. Hopefully his stuff keeps it tight. But I wanted to share you all, since S is for saving, I want to share with you all a young lady that I just left. She is 61. She's going to be 62 in November. When she came to me scared and crying. And the one thing that she said was she was allergic to being broke. She did not want to be broke. She was scared that once she retired, she would no longer, she would have to work. She would not have enough money, that she would outlive her money. And so when we first met, I got all her information. I met with my team. We developed a strategy. We met this evening to talk about her strategy. She had saved over her time of working almost $900,000 between her 401k, between her savings, between everything. She had about $900,000. Because she had so much saved over time, we were able to give her options. She had options. That's the most powerful thing. When you don't have any money, you don't have options. So you have to work for living.
Right.
Now, we presented an option for her, and she's like, oh, my God, let's do it. She can literally quit her job next year if she wants to, and she's going to have more than enough for the rest of her life based on the plan that we have. And even though she thinks that I'm a miracle worker, she is the one that did all the work. She is the one that saved. One of the accounts that she had, she put in 20 years ago when she left an employer, it was $2,500 that she rolled over into an IRA. She let that IRA sit for 20 years, didn't touch it. She has $68,000 in that IRA. Now that we can put into an annuity, create lifetime stream of income. She didn't do anything but let that money sit for 20 years. And it grew from $2,500 to $68,000. That is the power of interest. But that is also the power of the metabolism of money, which is time. The more time you have, the more you can do and the more you'll make in the end, which gives you options. Now, people say, I want $1 million so I can enjoy life. No, you want $1 million so you have options so you can do what you want to do. Now, since she doesn't have to work, she said, you know what? I might just work a couple more years. Not because she has to, because she wants to. And it makes life a whole lot different. So if she goes in tomorrow and say, forget y'all, I'm out, she can do that because of the work that she did, because of the seed she planted. So my whole thing there is save something sooner. Save something sooner. Take advantage of the metabolism of money. Metabolism of money is time. And that compound interest is no joke because that fuels that metabolism. So she started off with just a couple $1,000s. She let that stuff grow. She now in her 401k, she has $800,000. And that's only because she lost $100,000 because the market dipped. She lost $100,000. About a month ago, she had $900,000 in there. So it can happen. If you just start doing something and try not to tap into it. But I just wanted to give her a shout out. It wasn't that I performed miracles. I was able to create options for her based on what she had.
Right.
So I'm going to give her that shout out. She is freaking awesome. I so want to be like her when I
Yeah,
grow up. She is
definitely.
truly a millionaire. She has $1 million. She is truly a millionaire, just
Yes,
sitting there waiting
that's
for her for the rest
awesome.
of her life.
That is awesome. That's definitely a testimony to tell. So that is
Absolutely. And I
awesome.
love being able to help people with that. She walked in the door crying because she was scared. Like, I don't want to have to work for, for the rest of my life. She was afraid that she was going to have to work for the rest of her life and that she didn't do
Wow.
enough. She loved
Wow.
crying happy that
Wow.
now she doesn't have to work, that
That
she
is
can go on vacation for the rest of her life if she wants to.
wow. That's awesome. That is definitely a testimony to share and tell. That is awesome. That is awesome. Look at Tasha. Hey, look at her. Her tiara on. Hello,
Oh,
Tasha.
trying to be the Black Money Princess, y'all.
Okay.
Ladies, I'm going to let the millennials take control tonight.
Uh,
So you can share some in the chat room,
okay.
but I got rest. I'm tired. It's been a
Sarah.
long day.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, and you get some rest. And okay, we'll talk.
I might pop into the hot seat if I choose not to take my wig off. I might be back. I don't know. Well,
Y'all gonna make me. I'm gonna have to go get me some. She Tasha done came in with the tiara. You talking about take pulling things? I don't know what to look. That's okay. That's
y'all hold it down, boo.
okay. Well, you try to get some rest, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you. Hey, Tasha.
Hi, China. I'm trying not to. I don't even want to breathe too hard. My nephew's in the
Oh,
other room.
oh, I can understand. I can definitely relate to that. Mark, he is having some issues, technical difficulties we've been having with Blab. So I want everyone to kind of bear with us a little bit. And that was a great testimony that Tara just shared with us.
That was
That's
awesome.
definitely,
Mark holding it down in the chat room. Yes, welcome all our guests when they come.
yes.
Hold
Thank you. Yes, definitely. So, save we are speaking of today. And by her, Tara, leaving off with that testimony, I just want to say definitely you have to start young. And even with her, I love the way that she goes out to schools and talk to the young children and call them young money. That's a great way to put it. And I hope ring a bell for people to kind of like get in tune with it, because it's a trending name, Young Money. So grab their attention, like, I wonder what she's talking about. So that's good. I'm glad she's doing that, because I know me and you as well is all in for starting off with the youth, because it's all about what you teach them, how you teach them from, soon as they're able to me, I say 13, age of 13, it starts in the home. Start teaching your children how to save, teaching them the difference between wants and necessities, and teaching them about, even when it's school time shopping, Christmas shopping, how to budget and how to definitely save. When you give them allowance, make sure, if they want something, take them to the store. How much do you have? Okay, well, this costs such and such. Do you have enough? Do you want to spend all your money? Do you want to spend a little bit, or you want to save a little bit? Just teach them. I think 13 is a great age to start, and they need to, do it in the schools.
I love that you
So,
said it starts at home, because when we're talking about savings, like, that's simple. And it's definitely a principle that I think needs to begin in the home, something that we don't talk about, enough, something that we don't do enough of. I know I have a 20-year-old sister, and my mom is always complaining that, your sister don't know how to take care of business. She don't know how to save none of her money, and she don't do this and she don't do that. And then my question to my mom was, when have you taught her how to save her money? At what point
mm-hmm.
did you teach this to her? People not going to do
Yeah,
it just because you get older. You don't automatically learn things through a process of osmosis or something, like, just because she's
absolutely.
20 now doesn't mean she's going to wake up and automatically know how to save. These are skills
Yes.
that have to be taught, and it needs to start in the home. My mom, and that we never talked about money. I never saw her doing budgets. She never wrote down a list to go to the grocery store or anything like that. And,
Oh, wow.
I'm like, if we the first place we should start talking about financial literacy, especially as it comes to saving, it definitely needs to start at the home. We need to have, our kids set up with a bank account. When we're paying them allowance, we need to be talking about, what percentage do you think you need to add to your savings account? We need to be taking bank trips on a regular basis, make deposits into those accounts. This is how we teach children the habits of saving so that they can grow up and to be strong savers. Yes, that's what
Absolutely. Young money, definitely.
Yeah,
that's definitely.
And you know what I love about Tara is that she is able to be so provocative, right? So she can get the kids interested and excited, about money. Because she knows how to market it. And when we're talking about money, especially something that can be as boring as saving, you have to spice it up a little bit and make it a little bit more interesting, because don't nobody want to, hear about save. They want to talk about, the latest Jordans that came out, or that new Michael purse that they want to get. And it's like, don't talk to me about the...
Right. We are here with it. And I'm glad you said that, because just the other day, and before we kind of keep going, I just want to introduce myself as well on a record. Tasha had did it before she stepped off. But my name is Shynna Key, a.k.a. the Financial Fanatic. I am a financial and business empowerment coach and the author of Wealth is a Mindset. And speaking of money being taught in the home, and I'm sorry, before I kind of go off into it, I could be found at www.shynakey.com. That's my website. And you can follow me, Shynna Key, on all the social sites. But speaking about money, I was at the bank with my daughter just yesterday it was, and we had to drive through, and I'm depositing some money in the bank, and I, kind of asked her some questions. She's 13. She just turned, 13. And I asked her, did she know the difference between a debit card and a credit card? And I'm like, well, first, I am the go-to person. I'm your mother, and I do this as a living. So ask me all the questions. And she was a little confused about it, but I broke it down to her. So she's at the bank. She sees me fill out the deposit slip and tell her the difference between what a credit card is when a credit card company lends you money that you have to pay back. They borrow the money up front. And the debit card is your bank card that you have to actually have the money in the bank already before you actually go swipe it at stores. So you just have to break it down and teach the children so they know, because they're very curious and they are watching you.
They're definitely watching.
Right. And so incentive to me is, I'm glad you said with the bank account, you start with them young. Start with them at, even 13 for their 13th birthday. Along with whatever you get them for a gift could be a bank account with money. You can put a couple $100 in an account for their 13th birthday. Let's go to the bank and tell them, like, okay, yes, other people are getting you, visionary gifts. I'm going to give you a monetary gift and open up you a bank account or triple the money in there. And when you're talking about having them save, let them get accustomed to doing it the old-fashioned way. I say with the savings book, the checkbook, when you put the deposits, I'm sorry, I just went blank there a little bit, but let them do it the old fashioned way so they can get used to writing down the numbers and keeping a record of it. And so as an incentive, you can say, okay, well, if you save however much money you save at the end of this quarter or 3 months from now, you see how much you save, and I'll double it as an incentive. Make it fun for them. You have to make it creative and definitely, and that'll give them like, oh, okay. If I
delayed gratification instead of instant gratification, which is a skill that you want to instill. And I love how you said, like, do it as on a birthday. And I remember one of my mom's friends, my brother's godmother, actually, she opened an account for me on one of my birthdays. I think I was like 14 or something like that. And I was really into money. So I was saving all this money, but I didn't have any place to put it. And it actually never occurred to me that it should go somewhere, right? I'm just putting it in, a jar under my bed because my parents didn't have bank accounts. And so my brother's godmother one day took me to the bank and opened a bank account for me.
Okay,
Put
that's
$100
good.
in there, and she was like, this is your bank account. It was all, all completely for me. And
That's
from that
good.
moment on, I was like, oh my goodness, I have a bank account with a card attached to it.
Yes.
I can put
Yes.
money into it, and I can finally like really focus on growing my money. And it was like a very pivotal moment in my, a very important financial milestone for me. And I talk about it in my book because it definitely made an impression. And, just the fact that somebody cares enough to open a savings account for you kind of makes you think maybe I should actually save something.
Yes. Good. That's good. That's good. And speaking of book, go ahead and tell the audience what's the name of your book.
Yeah, my book is 20 something and rich, and it's about how to create a foundation in your 20s that will allow you to build wealth beyond. And so it's a really simple introduction to money management, and I wrote it in a very conversational way, so you'll feel like I'm talking to you. And sometimes I'm hard on you, and sometimes I want to educate, and so you'll feel like you're talking to me because that's the style that I wrote it in. And Mark actually did the forward in the book.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Awesome. Way to go, Mark. Way to go. Okay. And where can your book be found?
It's on Amazon, 20 something and rich. Okay. So you can go to Amazon.com, search it. It'll come up. If you go to Google and search 20 something and rich, it'll come up. But it's really for high school students and beyond. Anybody who needs a foundation. And most of the time, if you read financial books, they boring. Let's just be honest. But what I love is that when people read my books, they're like, "Oh my gosh, that was so interesting." And I'm like, that's one of the best compliments to me is like when I can make something that is, difficult or hard to understand, easy and relatable. And so even like with this topic of saving, I'm curious to know, Shynna, wait, hold on. I saw Tara ask the question, which should you do first, save or invest? Let's work up to that. First, let's talk about saving principles, and then talk about which
Okay. Yes. And then so just to piggyback off of that, when we were talking about how saving it starts within the home, actually in my book, Wealth is a Mindset, chapter 8, the title is called How to, what about saving money in the home, and how money should be taught in the classrooms. That's chapter 8 out of my book, Wealth is a Mindset. So I definitely speak about that, and I'm glad that Tasha was saying how her book is or easy read. Mine is as well. It's an easy read. I make it fun to read. I make it relatable to real life. I feel that talking about finances and business empowerment and savings and everything else should not be boring. If that's boring, I mean, that's your number one tool. That's most important in life. Everybody has to deal with money. So why is it boring? It's not boring when you're spending it. It's not boring when you're thinking about it. I mean, it is a part of our life. And so our life is not boring. So money should not be boring when we speak of finances. And again, I always say, when you are afraid to talk about money, it's because you don't have a great relationship with your money, so of course you will shy away from talking about it, but we are going to make a movement. We will going to make talking about money, savings, all of that stuff, business empowerment, all that fun. And it starts with trending names, the will of men, like Young Money, building an empire. Everybody watches Empire every Wednesday. Why not take 30 minutes a day, to try to create your own? So to say that, we can go off and start talking about, saving tips. For me, I can go ahead and kick off with, for one, and I always start off with the basic one-on-ones, because you would think everybody knows about saving and investing and things like that. And no, they don't. So me and Tasha, I'm on the same page. I start with like high schoolers on up, 9th grade, 8th grade on up. Okay. And then people in the workplace, you'll be surprised how many people don't even have a savings account or money, automatically going into their savings on payday. I love to say for Fridays, I call it Pay Yourself First Fridays. Okay. Pay Yourself First Fridays. Okay. when you get paid. Now, you may not get paid every Friday. You may get paid every other Friday or Tuesday, but generally in corporate America, people get paid on Fridays. So you take that theory and use it for whatever day you get paid. So on Friday, pay yourself for Friday. Okay. Before you go to lunch. Okay. Before you go to lunch, to me, okay. When you go to work, I don't know how lenient you are on your job can be or anything. But before you go to lunch, because you're going to get a break, everybody get a break, at least a 10, 15 minute break. Before you go to lunch, you should have already put some money into your savings. Before you go to lunch, you should already have paid yourself first. And I say it depends on how much you make, but at least $25. That's the at least. I say at least because we're talking about the people for beginners. I mean, I'm just saying, I say that to say you have to start somewhere. Okay. So, I mean, at least, because some people think that they're too broke to save. You get what I'm saying? And I'm like, no, don't think like that. I don't care if it's $25 every week. Put $25 in your savings account. Have it automatically deducted from your paycheck. Me, I used to have money deducted from my paycheck plus take another extra and put into my savings. So I call Fridays pay yourself Fridays, because if you wait to pay your bills first and pay yourself last, you're going to feel like you ran out of money. You don't have enough money to pay yourself. But if your employer forget to pay you, you're going to be, hold on, I didn't get paid. So I need you to be the same way with yourself. Because if your employer, you don't see your check in your bank account or on your desk, however, you'll be like, hold on, I didn't get paid. Okay. So that's my tip. And I'll pass the torch on to you, Tasha, to give us, one of your savings tips.
Okay. I want to back it up a little bit, because before I talk about saving, I always start with, do you know how much you make? How much money are you bringing in every month? Because if you don't, and I know that might sound like, people know how much money they bring in, but the truth is they don't. It's like they kind of have an idea of their annual salary, but once you start asking people, because, I ask these very direct questions within my community, how much do you make every month? And it gets really fuzzy, and people have to start doing math, and they got to pull out the calculator and, all of that. And so if you don't know how much money you have coming in, it is impossible to accurately allocate your resources. You don't know how much money you can save. So while you're saving $25, maybe you could be saving $250, but you don't know because you haven't checked to see how much money you have coming in.
You bring it in.
And once you know how much money you have coming in, you have to take stock of your expenses. What are your expenses? And before I talk about savings, I have to know, if you do the income and then you do the expenses, and you find out what is your uncommitted income. Once you figure out your uncommitted income, then you can begin to allocate resources toward the things you need to save for. Like, this is not hard. This is basic arithmetic, addition and subtraction. How much do you make? Subtracted by all of your expenses, and then see how much you have left over. That's the money that you can start using to save and invest. And so with that, Tara asked the question, is it better to save first or invest first? I have my own ideas, but I'll kick it back to you, Shynna, to see what you think.
I say save first. I say that because if you do not have your 8-month emergency fund set up, you must have that set up first. Once you have your 8-month emergency fund set up aside, then I say you can start investing more, but definitely get that 8-month cushion down together first. That's most important. Definitely.
I'm so with you. First of all, that you require an 8-month emergency fund. I normally require my clients to do 6 months, but it's 6 months of total expenses, not not just the necessary expenses. But I normally require a 6-month emergency fund, and I'm the same way. The number one thing that we're saving for, period, point blank, is your emergency fund. And I talk about saving for emergency fund in a couple increments. Now, You might have to work toward this, and that's okay. Everybody has to start somewhere, but I like to create specific goals because I don't want you floundering out there wondering what you should or shouldn't do and what you could or couldn't do. So the number one goal with the emergency fund is get to $1,000 as quickly as possible. Cut off all expenses to everything that you possibly can if you don't have an emergency fund, and channel it into that emergency fund and try to make it, an exciting game to see how quickly can you save up $1,000. After the $1,000 mark is the $5,000 mark. That is slow and steady. You don't got to rush to it. You can just do it slow and steady, contribute it every month. And, as you're saving up towards it, guess what? Emergencies are going to happen and you're going to have to pull from it, but it's okay. Don't trip, because guess what? You have an emergency fund. You have money in the bank. All you have to do is be consistent with your contributions, and you're building the habits that are important to wealth. So start with the emergency fund and saving, but also make sure that you're saving up for important goals in your life. So if you need a car, if you're going to need a new work wardrobe, if you plan on getting married, or whatever the case may be, outside of your emergency fund, you also want to plan for major life events, because when you don't, guess where you're going to get that money from? If you need a new car, but you ain't saved for, if you need new tires, but you didn't save for new tires, guess what? That money is going to come from your emergency fund. And new tires, that's not an emergency fund. That's not an emergency. If you own a car, cars need maintenance. That's automatic. You know this.
That's included, right?
You should have an account that's planning for the maintenance that your car is going to require. So don't be pretending like you needed a new tire as an emergency. No, you can go tell that to somebody.
You need tires. That's the part of within, every, what they say, sometimes every year, every 6 months, new tires. So come on. And that brings me to, and I know we're going into the month of October, and that goes to have me speak upon Christmas is coming up, right? So every year we have people going crazy about to pull their hair out because they not ready. They're not prepared. They didn't say, we know Christmas is every year. You have 365 days to plan for Christmas. So I'm just saying, like, people going dead, they're not organized with it. And it's like, okay, we're already October. I hope all of us on the blab has already started planning and started, doing some things, and just some tips for that, for savings and things like that, for Christmas. Make sure you're making a list. You're checking it twice. You're making, you're pulling names out of the hat. Don't try to buy gifts for everyone. All the friends, like
grown folks don't get gifts.
Right. And buy a gift that lasts. Again, Christmas gift can be money in your bank account, an investment to someone's education, an investment to someone starting their business, or putting money into their business. So we have to try to throw that out there when we're talking about wealth. And I'm trying to start, definitely hashtagging wealth. Wealth is a mindset. It's definitely a mindset. And throwing out there, you can buy gifts, things that's going to last a lifetime for, gifts. CDs. My mother was big on CDs. She had me a Putnam account when I was a little girl. So, I mean, we have to get more, creative to throw out new types of gifts in our community.
Mark and Tara, what do you guys think would be good financial gifts for, like, I have a niece and 2 nephews. What should I get them? Should I just get them a CD or a treasury bond or whatever? Like, what should I do for them? And I know that's a question that I get around the holidays a lot. I don't know a lot about bonds and stuff like that. I don't really invest in them. But
I would say they're young. I don't know if they're going to answer that, but I say you can start off with a CD and savings bonds. Yes, I would definitely say start off with one of those. Those are great gifts. They won't understand it now, but they will understand it and appreciate it later. Okay, so that is a great gift. So I'm gonna start getting that out there on the surface. And you guys please join me, because I am, it's really in my heart to, like, we have to get this going in our community. It's like pathetic. I'm tired of people spending so much money on their shoes, Jordans, and they don't even have a savings account. They don't even have, okay, I'm not going to go deep into that. I'm going to pass the torch back over to you, Tasha. I don't want to get to sounding like I'm preaching about that, but those people are already rich. We need to,
Leland. Yeah. And I was reading the other day, well, not the other day, but I was reading about how, during Christmas, people go into so much debt during that time frame. And so it just made me think about when you said, like, highlighting saving for the holiday season, being intentional about your spending during the holiday season. All of those things, they seem like small things, but you're absolutely right. We need to talk about this stuff more. If we're not talking about money, then it's not top of mind. I did a financial chill session the other day on Blab, just to, like, really low key talk about money. Like, it doesn't always have to be a very structured conversation. Sometimes, I just want to see what's top of mind for people, and one of the guys who joined was just like, I was just excited to see that there was a space to talk about money, because it's not something that we talk about all the time. And, but guess who is talking? Marketers. They never shut up. They talk all day, telling you what to buy, telling you how to spend your money, telling you the cool latest gadgets. They're always in your ear. I'm surprised right now it's no advertisements on Blab right now. But if you go to Facebook, guess what? They have advertisements, and they're targeted directly to you, because those marketers want your money. And so we have to be just as relentless, just as vigilant as they are. And I think, like, that's the whole reason we do this. That's why we talk about financial orgasms.
Right. Yes. And definitely. Yes, and definitely have to get your financial IQ up,
I'm going to go check on my nephew. Hold it down for a second.
Okay. All right. That's okay. Okay. So, yes. So we have to definitely increase, our financial IQs and get everybody on the same path, or else we're going to keep going into this cycle. And so another tip I have for saving, make sure if you're working for corporate America, make sure you are taking advantage of the 401k. Most companies, they do a match. That's free money. Some companies even, put into your 401k, even if you don't. But why wouldn't you? But go ahead, make sure you are taking advantage of the company's 401k. That is a must, I would definitely say. Thank you, Coach Carr, for joining us. So the 401k, I would definitely say. Thank you, Tara. If you have anything to say on that, Mark, you guys do the planning there for the financial experts part. But definitely 401ks, saving bonds. Your children are never too young to start saving. I say a good age is 13 for their 13th birthday. Go turn up at the bank. Go put money in the bank. Start them account. If you have multiple children, a tip for, if you have multiple children, I say you can have one savings account, and when they graduate from high school, split the total up to how many children there is. If you are worried about trying to keep up with multiple accounts, have one savings account, split up the total when they turn, graduate from high school. I'm not going to say age, because, people, they tend to graduate at different ages. So that's the tip that I have there. And let's see here. We have Tara coming back in. Hello, Tara. Welcome back. Yes. So
absolutely, when you said about the 401ks, definitely 401ks, 403bs, any retirement plan, to 401ks, 403bs from your employer sponsored accounts, if they match, especially when they match. 401ks, 403bs, TSAs, or whatever, it's because of the free money that your employer is giving you. You may want with the form of options that's there. Can you still hear me?
No,
Yeah,
I can't.
you're really breaking up a lot.
Breaking up a lot. So, can you hear me better now?
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you better.
Okay.
I can't see you. Okay.
Okay. My internet is really bad. Retirement plans.
Tara, I'm having a really hard time hearing you.
Okay, I'm gonna type it.
Did I miss?
Okay.
What was the question?
It wasn't a question. We were talking about 401ks, making sure that you're taking advantage of your company's 401k, especially if they match. So we were speaking of 401ks and 403 plans, especially if they match. Take advantage of that free money. Do not let the free money get away. So that's what we were speaking about there. And so you want to add to that, Tasha?
Well, I'll just say, on the investment piece, one of the reasons I think that saving is one of the most ignored wealth building strategies, because people are so quick to think about investing. But I think that, when you don't save, what happens is you have to pull from your emergency fund or from your investment accounts, which ultimately limits your long-term wealth building potential. So if you're constantly investing, but then you have to pull from those investments because you didn't plan for the future properly, now you're paying taxes and penalties on that money. I have never met a pro saver, right? And you're not going to save your way to being a millionaire. So don't misunderstand me, but there are levels to this. Like there's a certain foundation you have to build before you are actually in a good place to start investing on top of that. And that includes paying down debt, right? So,
Right.
There's so many different layers, and saving, I think, is one of the things that is least leveraged because we want to jump the gun and, start investing, which, and it's a juggle. You can do multiple things.
Yes, it definitely is.
You can do multiple things.
Yes.
But you, especially if you got a company match, we're not leaving that on the table. We're taking advantage of free money. But on the back end, you have to figure out, okay, what percentage of my uncommitted income am I going to put towards this? What percentage am I going to put towards that? Right.
Yes. And I'll definitely, to piggyback off of that, to speak about investing aggressively. Now, when you're investing, you can invest aggressively all the way up to the age of about 55. Then you want to start investing conservatively. So about 10 years before you get ready to retire, you want to start investing conservatively. Okay. So before then, you can definitely invest aggressively. Be aggressive. Go hard.
That's why I work with millennials. Like I haven't thought about how to invest for retirement. But one thing I know, I was reading something for all of the baby boomers and Gen Xers out there. I was reading something talking about how the first few years after you retire are the most important as it relates to like your ability to maintain your retirement funds throughout your entire retired life. But then after those first couple of years where you have to do a lot of income protection, you also have to remember the fact that you could live for another 40 years, right?
Absolutely.
I don't know if you're a 20% conservative account.
Yes, you want to definitely read that out for the blab.
I have zero in a conservative account.
So Miss
very aggressively because look, I ain't trying to be a millionaire when I'm 70, okay? And then
Okay, you want to enjoy life. You want to be able to go everywhere and enjoy life. You want to be a millionaire at a time where you can enjoy life, not broke down and can't go turn up, and you want to. So definitely, Miss Money Madam said, if you are 20 and have 20% in conservative account, and if you're 40, have 40%. So basically, she said, rule of thumb is to have your age as a percentage. That was awesome. Have your age as a percentage.
Mark, I followed the rules
in a conservative vehicle, and that was coming from Mr. Wingonomics. I always thought of Mr. in there for some reason.
100, but I also teach the rule of 110, and so depending on how conservative or aggressive my clients are, they can choose. But I like to use 110 because I like to have a more aggressive portfolio.
Yes.
But I'm still learning.
Yes.
I'm still figuring out my own personal investment philosophy.
Yes. And definitely now investing, let's say I want to touch bases on trading currency and stuff. That's another vehicle. I don't know, anyone agree with me on a blog?
Forex
yes. And then some people think that they never traded currency before. Do you think you have traded currency before? People think they've never traded before. And honestly, and just to tell you, I'm gonna be the one to tell you, if you traveled outside the country, you are a trader. You traded currency. So you are a trader. I'm the one to tell you. So yes, trading currency.
I don't do none of that. I definitely researched it, forex trading, but again, it's not currently part of my investment strategy.
Okay.
But it's just because I do all of my investments myself, right? So I don't
okay.
I don't know enough to do it, but it seems like a lot of fun, and it doesn't seem that difficult because money is something that makes sense, right? When you think about exchanging currencies and the different rates, that just makes sense to me. You understand that $1 gets you 89 cents on the euro or something like that, and so that just makes sense. But normally when I'm working with adults, I teach them tried and true investment strategies. And I forget what it's called. It's like alpha or beta or something, where there is a part of your portfolio that's a little bit more volatile that you use to generate your a higher interest rate. Is the bulk of your portfolio is just following the market, but then you have a small alpha or beta, I forget which one it is, that is used to generate your return. And that's kind of how I follow it. Most of the time I'm invested in index funds and ETFs. That's index funds and ETFs. But then it's a small percentage of my portfolio that's going to be invested in other things that's a little bit more risky to help me get that, return that I'm looking for.
Okay. Yes, definitely. So, and just real quick, I know Miss Money Madam and Mark, don't really, want to talk about it. Do you guys want to talk about the trading a little bit? Just to throw it out there, if you guys are interested, or just to take a peek at it. Again, I am the one to empower people about the basic one-on-ones about different things. So just to give you a touch of something to see if you want to, invest a little more, to get more tuned to it. It's just to throw it out there, just to open up your eyes and ears a little bit. Forex trading, they actually have a demo before you go live. So you can practice a lot. And I've actually done it. It's actually fun and pretty neat. And you can practice before you go live. So that's just something to throw out there, because I know, in our community, we are not big on that. So just another vehicle just to kind of throw out there to open up your mind about maybe another avenue.
Yeah, so Shynna, you've done Forex trading?
Yes, I've played with it on the demo side. I didn't go live yet, but
I was
I'm
asking,
still
I was
in.
gonna say, like, how did you build up to that? Like, for me, it's like, emergency fund. I don't have a 401k anymore, but when I used to, it was emergency fund, 401k, Roth IRA, and then general investments. So that's kind of what's like, when I have extra money, it's like, so much goes to this, so much goes to that. Shoot, right now, I don't have any extra money to put toward Forex trade, and I'm trying to max out my IRA.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
But
And then another thing, yeah, and then another thing when you're thinking about and trying to touch into, let's see, investing and things like that, I would say for beginners to think about what you like the most. Like, say if you're an Apple fan, go ahead and invest into like Apple. It'll keep your interest because you're interested. You're a big Apple fan, and you'll be more willing to look at you beating the street, right?
Beating the
He talked about that.
Talks about investing in what you know. So he talks about like,
yes,
if I don't know how the company operates, then I'm not going to buy it. If it doesn't make sense to me, I'm not going to buy it. And so he talks about how there was like, I think it was this 3rd grade class, and how they beat most of the money managers on Wall Street because they were investing in stuff like Crayola,
right, that they already love and know about, and they have an interest. It's gaining their attention. It's keeping them willed in because that's something they use every day. They know about it. They're interested about it. So that's definitely a point I would definitely say for beginners. Start off with something that you are interested in and that you like. Facebook,
like, you want to understand it. Pick up the book. Peter Lynch, Beating the Street. It's really about individual stocks, but I think it's just a good starting point if you want to know more about building your own personal investment philosophy. A lot of it is in this book. And even when I'm choosing my ETFs and index funds, I'm looking at what are these companies, what is this index fund or mutual fund rather? What is the fund? Like, what are the main holdings in this, fund? Is it mostly Apple stock? Is it mostly in an oil company? And I'm like, does this make sense to me? Is this a mutual fund that I can stand behind?
Yes, and I like what Miss Madam Money is saying. Yes, her rule is don't buy stuff, buy stock. I love it. And then Wingonomics said loyal3.com is a good investing site that he used and recommends. So great stuff. Yes, definitely. And I say what's the name of it's and what is it? Investopedia is a great app. So as we had mentioned the other time, what is that, last weekend when we was talking about apps, using apps for pay instead of play, definitely use apps, download apps like the Wall Street Journal, download apps, Investopedia, download apps that will, feed you knowledge. It's all about feeding yourself. So I just wanted to say that as well. And what is that? Another website? Okay. It allows you to buy individual stocks and IPOs. Loyal3.com, that is.
Loyal3.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see. Saving.
Anybody have any questions? Please, we welcome and encourage questions before we start to wrap up the blab. Any questions? Anyone else? Miss Madam Money, Mr. Wingonomics. I always throw Mr. in front of Wingonomics. I don't know why. I just love to. I just love the sound of it, the ring. Mr. Wingonomics.
By Mr. Wingonomics. That's quite accurate.
Okay. Question. What are ways to save on shopping? Okay, that's a question. Definitely. Couponing. I hear couponing is really big. I have to try it myself, but I heard that is very big. Price matching. I definitely say price matching when you shopping. I say don't go shopping if you in a hurry to buy something. If you know an event is coming up or something, you know, it's coming up, make sure you give yourself some time to go shopping so you won't be in a rush to buy the first thing you see because last minute you got to get it, you need it, because therefore you'll be paying, you know, high price when you could took some time, shop around and found it for cheaper. So those are a couple of tips I have to save on shopping. Make sure you checking for coupons. You can Google savings on any store. Make sure you kind of, you know, if you have the apps, what's the name of a couple of apps? I think it's Red. I forgot. I just went blank there. I forgot. It was a couple of apps that I've heard of for savings, well, coupons and stuff. And those just a couple that I have.
The coupon app is literally just coupon. I use that sometimes. But when it comes to coupon.
Yes, retail. Okay, yes, that's definitely the one I was talking about.
When it comes to shopping, I really I don't have a lot of. I do have some tips, but that's not really where I want to start. When I talk about, you know, shopping, I think that you want to shop from a place that is value driven. And so think about when you're buying stuff, is this in line with my values? Meaning that, is this going to help me get to where I want to go? And if the answer is no, put it back. Don't coupon for it. Don't try to find a deal. Put it back. If it's not, but if it is something that aligns with your values and it is something that's going to help you get closer to your financial destination, then don't hesitate. You don't have to coupon. You don't have to, like, when I find something that aligns with who I am and it's going to help me get to where I want to go and it's going to make me feel fulfilled and happy, I don't have to feel guilty about buying it. I just buy it because I already know that, you know, it aligns with what I want, who I want to be, and how I want to show up. But if it doesn't do that, then there isn't a price cheap enough in the world that could make me buy it. Once you actually start to realize, like, you know, every single action that I take is going to make a difference in whether or not I'm able to reach my financial destination. And that's something that I personally take very seriously, because you have to understand that money is more than just greenbacks. This is something that, whether you work 9 to 5 or whether you're an entrepreneur, you are exchanging your life force in order to get these greenbacks. And so when you spend that money, you should only spend it for something that you think is worth your time, your energy, and your life force. And if it's not, put it back on the shelf. You know, you don't need it. And I like to tell my clients, you can have anything, but you cannot have everything, not because you can't afford it, but because everything is not going to serve you and your financial destination. And so, like, I like to, like, just be in tune with the things that make you happy. And if something isn't gonna add to you, if it's not going to be productive, the Bible tells us that, you know, everything is admissible, but not everything is profitable. It might be okay to buy, but is it going to profit you? Is it going to improve you? Is it going to advance you and move you forward? And if the answer is no, my advice is to put it back on the shelf. And if the answer is yes, my advice is to get it unapologetically. Don't feel bad.
Yes, I definitely agree. Definitely great stuff, Tasha. Definitely. And like you said, if you feel bad about purchasing it, don't buy it. It's not worth it. And so for savings, absolutely, I would say make sure you're living beyond your means, you know, within your means. Make sure you're living within your means. That is number one. And I have a tip. A lot of people say budgeting. When I say budgeting, I don't say when I go shopping, budgeting is considered being cheap. To me, being cheap, you will end up having to replace that item over and over and over again by being cheap. I say buy whatever you're looking for one time. Make sure it's good quality so you can have it for some time. Because being cheap, buying something that does not have great quality will actually become more expensive in the long run by you having to keep replacing it. If you would have just buy something that is, you know, have great quality. So being cheap actually is more expensive So make sure you buying stuff that has great quality, please. I mean, I hear it all the time. I used to hear stories about people buying shoes. Now, if you're buying heels, I'm sorry, you have to have a good heel on. You cannot wear a cheap heel. I'm sorry. I am not risking myself on no 4-inch or no 3-inch heels walking like I'm gonna get you sucker, okay, and break that heel and be embarrassed. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so I have to have a great heel, and if you're buying a cheap heel and it breaks, you like the heel so much, I gotta go find a replacement. You might can't find it again because they might don't have it in stock, or you might try to, you're just gonna have to replace it. Same thing with handbags. You have to have a good quality. So I'm not saying they have to be Gucci, Prada. I'm not saying they have to be on the high end, but make sure it is great quality. I cannot stress that enough. I'm so sorry. It hit me. It was here. It was here because I hear it all the time.
I could be talking about he don't know what we're talking about.
That was personal. Mark, come on now, Mark. Mark, you gotta have a good heel too now. Not a high heel, but a good shoe.
Yes, I agree. If I find a good heel, and it's one like in a color that I need, I snap it up because I don't wear shoes that hurt my feet. I just don't do it. I don't believe in that. But I also want to
get another pair of feet now. You can't get another pair of feet, so you gotta, make sure you putting good stuff on them.
Really good. So he said, I preach having a spending planner that allows you to give your money a purpose. And I think, when we're talking about saving, a spending planner and giving money a purpose, how to avoid spending unnecessary money when shopping. One thing I tell people is have a mental list of things that you need to buy. And if you are in the store and you feel like shopping and something ain't on your list, then don't buy it. But you can go find something that is actually on your list and buy that instead. Yeah. Sometimes I just need a spending fix. And rather than just spending it all willy-nilly on what's in front of me, I think back to, wait a minute, what do I need right now? And then I'll just go buy that. And it's like, it helps me because I wanted to spend some money, but it's also spending money on something that I needed, not just something that I felt like doing frivolously.
Yes, definitely. And I know, you're right, Tara. 4 things everyone needs to buy is our books. Wealth is a Mindset. Tasha, you go.
20-something and rich, helping you build a foundation for your 20s and beyond.
Yes, and those both can be found on Amazon.com. I know Mr. Wingonomics book can be found on Amazon.com. Miss Madam Money book can be found on Amazon.com. And all you have to do is Google our names; it will come up. And I got one last tip.
Go for it.
For saving, when you're going in the store, please put your blinders on. You're going to walk straight ahead to the aisle you going to. Okay, you going to O.r.g.a.s.m for what? Let's say heck, paper towels, or in Miss Madam Money voice, hell. She like to curse. She like to curse a little bit. So hell, if you're going to O.r.g.a.s.m for paper towels, make sure you're going there for paper towels because it's easy to get distracted when you're in the stores. Put the blinders on, please. I'm guilty, but I'm getting better. Y'all.
The illustration about how men shop versus how women shop. Like there's this thing on Facebook, Mark.
Yes, don't take the kids. Yes.
About how men go into the store, they just take one pass for what they want. They go to the register and then they leave. But women go to the store, then they go to this department, then that department. They go look for the kids stuff. They go look for the electronics. They go, and then they finally leave.
You gotta put your foot down with children now. Some people don't have babysitters and they may have to just take the children. So before you go into the store, you look at her. Tell your children, look at here. Before we go in this store, I'm going to tell you, do not ask for nothing. Don't touch nothing. You don't see nothing. You don't want nothing.
Do like this. Have a list. Say, look, kids, this is what we're going to get. If it's not on this list of things that we need as a family, then we're not getting it. Because I remember when I was
Right.
my mom used to do that to me. She's like, when we go in this stove, don't touch nothing because it ain't for you. And I'd be like, dang, like I can't have nothing. Why can't I have stuff?
You're right. Well, you can be fun. You're right, Tasha. So let me say, you can have fun, make it creative. Let's go back to the creative for the kids. We're going to say, kids, this is what we're getting on the list. Won't you go get this? Or do you see this when we go to the aisle? Look for this. So, maybe let them interact and make them feel like that's what they're getting for themselves. Okay.
We need a family. Let's go make it happen. You got
reverse psychology. Right, reverse psychology. And therefore we won't have we won't get a financial STD. We don't want no financial STD after we leave the store. Ain't that right? Okay.
So I tell my kids to go to the dollar store. Hey, go to the dollar store and get whatever you want. But we're closing it down. So thank you guys so much for being with us. And whether you are watching now or catching the replay, we appreciate you for taking this time to talk about saving and a little bit about investing with us. My name is Tasha. I am the CEO and Chief Coach at Start Young Financial. And I want to be the Black Princess of Money. We'll see how that works as I get more exposed.
Claim it and you shall receive. Speak it into existence, y'all. You got it.
So much. And I'll be with you next week. We'll all be with you next week to have more financial orgasms.
Yes. Thank you, Shynna Key, empowering you to build your empire always. I'm signing out. You guys, good night. Good night, Mark. Good night, Tara.
Check out Mark Wingo's book, Mr. Wingonomics. What's the full name, Mark? How to be a cash flow millionaire on any budget in any market.
There you go. Yes, Mark.
Changing lives. So pick up our books and we will be with you next time.
Right, and financial fornication. Yes. So just Google our names, guys. We'd love to see you next week, next Tuesday, 9:00. Same time, same place, same day. Shynna Key signing out. BYE. Build your empire. Great peace and blessings.